Okay, I'm going to give you a quick overview of color theory and typography for web design. Understanding color psychology is really important. Colors evoke emotional responses, whether you realize it or not. In general, red makes people feel energetic and have urgency. Blue makes people feel like they can trust you, and it also makes them feel like it's professional. Green reminds us of nature, and it makes us think of like ecologically friendly things and growth and sometimes money. Yellow helps us think of optimism and creativity. It's an exciting color. Purple gives us a feeling of luxury and opulence and sophistication. Creating effective color palettes, you're going to start with your brand's primary color. So thinking of all of the emotions that you want to evoke for your brand, then you can go through and find colors that are appropriate for that brand. If they've already got a logo, you'll probably want to go with some of the colors in their logo. And then use the 60-30-10 rule. That would be like 60% of the stuff on the page is your dominant color, 30% is your secondary color, and 10% is the accent color. And you just only use a little bit of the accent color so that it will pop. And usually that's reserved for things like buttons, call to action, things, links, things that you want them to do something with. Tools to help you are things like Adobe Color, Coolers.co, Color Hunt, and I'll show you some of these tools in the next video. For typography, you want to make sure you're choosing good font combinations. When you are choosing fonts, it's really important to take some time and think about what the fonts you're choosing, what message they're sending, because fonts also evoke emotions. Serif fonts are the kinds that have little tags on the ends of the letters. They are more traditional, authoritative. They lend a feeling of conservative, traditional stuff. Sans serif is more modern, clean, and those are the ones with no tags on the letters. They're more easy to read on the screen, and they're just more modern and clean feeling. Display fonts are kind of everything else. That could be like handwritten fonts, scripty stuff, retro vintage fonts. And these can evoke many, many different emotions, from cute curly stuff to really scary, like dripping blood fonts. So you just want to be careful, like have fun, play with it, but remember the number one rule is that you need to be able to read what you have in your font. There's so many times where you go to a store or a website and you can't understand what the font is saying because it's in such a strange font. If people have to work too hard to read your stuff, they're just not going to understand it. So there are some rules for pairing fonts. Number one, contrast is key. Make sure people can tell what's important and be able to separate the hierarchy of what's important, what's next important, and then what's least important. Limit yourself to 2 or 3 fonts because every font that you have to load slows down your site a little bit. And then consider readability. Make sure that it's comfortable for people to read that font and that it's not going to strain them. A lot of times you'll see a font and you'll think it's great and you'll put it on your website, and once you put it into the body, you just realize, oh, this really is not attractive or not comfortable to read. It feels squished, it feels spaced, whatever the problem is. So like, be flexible. If you've found a font that you think you love and then you put it in your site and you don't love it so much, don't be afraid to go back and choose a different one. When you're creating your typographic hierarchy, it's important to be consistent. So when you have a heading, make sure it's using this consistent fonts throughout your site so that people know this is important because it's using this font, and the headings are always using this font. The body is always using this font, so it has this less importance, and I can skim through and skip that part or read through it quickly. The call to action emphasis will always be the same font, the same boldness, the same font size. And then when it sizes down, make sure that it's consistently sizing down and that you don't have like weird sizes that are sometimes big and sometimes little or whatever when you go down. Make sure you're maintaining consistent spacing as well between letters and between lines so that it feels comfortable and natural and that the site brand is consistent with your spacing. When you're putting things into Divi, you'll have several steps. First, you'll access the font settings, and then you're going to set up custom font sizes. You're going to create reusable styles. Usually that is through your presets. And then you're going to make sure that the mobile responsiveness is considered when you're setting up those presets so that it can be a consistent size down as well. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to use some of the color tools, how to set up your fonts in Divi, how to find fonts, all those things. So I hope to see you in that next video. Thanks.